everybody? Welcome to Speaking It Real. Intro was short, no commercials. I'm going to tell you like this show came on a whim. Because it was one of those where I thought about it. I didn't know if I was going to do it. I was iffy. And you know what? My boy, Obi-Wan from the HHW show came to save the day.
Hey man, I appreciate you inviting me, man. And like I said, there was me and Hector, the other co-host of HHW show. We were like, is Frank around, man? What's going on? I was like, I had a lot of topics to discuss, and I wanted to share with you, and then next thing you know, I was like, hey, let's do this. So it's pretty amazing how fast we could get on the mic and start talking.
I for sure. Listen, I'm telling you, I got home. I came upstairs a minute. I did a couple things on the computer. I went downstairs. I left my phone back here on this bed. It's a mess. I know, mom. If you watch, yes, mommy. No hice la cama. It's okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know. And I ate dinner. I came upstairs. I had Elizabeth. She's like, "What are you doing? You're not gonna come down here?" I said, "I think I might do a podcast. I don't know yet, but going upstairs, I make up an excuse. I come up. I look at my phone, and there's Ovi Muniz
Yeah.
sending me messages. So I was like, "Hey, you know what? Let's do it."
Yeah, man. I mean, the topic for today, we were talking about pedestrians, man, like getting hit by cars and stuff. And then another topic, Alec Baldwin being charged with involuntary manslaughter, and the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Like they inducted someone in there, and it's left question as if that person's deserving. Are there others that deserve better? I mean, what's going on in that side of the house, and even in all major sports? Like, how is it that how they select these worthy Hall of Famers to be, and part of the elite of all time? So, but first, let's talk about the pedestrians here. So, recently here in my local area, early in the morning, there was two people riding on an electric bike, and apparently they got hit by a car. Okay, and the streets were closed and everything. Both those people are in stable condition as I speak. And again, this has happened at early in the morning, 5:50. This is before school starts and stuff that and all those heavy traffic. And but this is not the first time. This is not a shocker. It's a shocker to know that almost every day there's a pedestrian getting hit by a car. And you realize we never used to hear pedestrians getting hit, but it seems like this is a constant. And not so long ago, within a couple of months, there was two that were crossing the street and they got killed. So, and it's like every day there's always a traffic accident that caused major delays, and majority of it now are like, if it's not wrong way incidents on the highway, it's pedestrians getting hit. So when's enough is enough? What can we do to improve so that way it's be safe for the pedestrians to cross the street? I see that you're showing your cell phone on there, and you're right.
You
I
gotta
think
get rid
that
of the
is
cell
the
phone.
number one reason is the cell phones.
You know,
And listen, like it's unbelievable. Like you know your duty when you're behind the wheel, when you're moving, you got to pay attention to the road.
yeah, but you know what, man? It's not always the driver,
In most cases, it is because if you're following the
right?
speed limit, you're watching your awareness. And I'm guilty sometimes. I would look down just to find my tunes and stuff like that. Even on the radio, it doesn't necessarily be the cell phone. You want to change it up or whatever, and we get lazy, especially with all this technology to Bluetooth everything in your car. So that way, your controls are on the steering wheel. But a lot of people love to text,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And pretty simple. Let's look at another one is on the highway. I've witnessed people with their heads down, and I count one, two, three. I'm like, damn, this guy's more concentrated on the text. He's not looking up. You're on the highway. You're going 60, 65, maybe all the way to 80 miles per hour. You know what I mean? A 1 second, and boom, you're done. You know.
Definitely.
But then in the town, you're right. yes, pedestrians sometimes jail walk a lot, you know, but if you're paying attention on the road, you know when to stop.
Correct. Yeah, but all right. So since you mentioned cyclists, right? So you
Mhm.
said two people were hit. They're riding electric bikes, right?
Now, I don't know the whole story of
Right,
who
right, right.
caused, but the thing is that that's just one example, right? And again, there's been fatalities, people speeding and stuff like that. And majority of the time, sometimes is they're under the influence, which is pretty ridiculous. And you could tell also they're under influence when they run away because there's been a lot of hit and runs, and that's escalating here. So, uh, your point was you wanted to say was the
Yeah. Look,
pedestrian. You got to watch out with the pedestrians because sometimes they could be guilty.
look. I see it all the time here, right? We have here in Miami a huge bike population. Okay, where you have these cyclists that compete and they're always riding out here in the streets. They have their own lane. Okay, we have an actual bike lane in some parts of the city. All right, which could fit about two bikes. But there's times where you see three, four, five, six bikes, and it's leading into the lane where the cars are at. So then the guy that's driving, obviously has to slow down and stay behind these bikes until they decide that, okay, you know what, let me get back in my lane. If not, guess what? You stay stuck there. Now the cyclists, some of them don't care about the rules, don't care about the cars behind them, because the way they see it is, I had the right of way because I'm a cyclist and I'm a human being. So I should not get hit. And that is where there's a problem. That is where there's the problem. If you have your lane, stay in your lane. Now that you come out of your lane and you want to get back in because you want to pass the guy in front of you, by all means do it. But get back in your lane. Don't assume that the person behind you, the car behind you, is gonna see you. Because you know what? They don't. They don't. So also, the us as drivers, we have to watch out for them, yes. But the cyclists also have to be careful too. And that's where they're not.
Understandably, but there's the one key that you just said, right? Is like they got to slow down. But if they're not paying attention, how do you know that when to slow down? Because they're not paying attention to what's going on the road. Again, when you got pedestrians crossing the street, there's no reason why pedestrians are getting hit by cars. It's just unless somebody ran out of nowhere and then get hit, I could understand. Like, hey, big dummy, you were running across the street without looking both ways. Boom, gotcha. But it's been too many and too many, and the cause of it is one: either you're under the influence or you're on your damn cell phone and you don't know how to put that cell phone down. And there's laws, and I got a feeling, what my gut tells me is that they need to stricken the law a little bit more. Okay, situation. I'm gonna tell you. See if you agree or disagree. That if the investigation finds that you're at fault because you were using a device, I think they should issue all suspensions on your driver's license.
I completely agree with that. I mean, look, I'm one that I have. There's times where I drive and I have my device with me, But this is the thing, and this is where that loophole, if they were to do that, there there's a loophole there because we use our devices also as a GPS.
Right. But the GPS also talks to you.
Correct.
You know what I'm
But
saying? And
yeah,
now
but
you have your display on in front of your dash. The newer cars got display so you can see where you're going.
right. Well,
Right.
none of my
Yeah.
cars have that.
Then you have mounts. The mounts could be mounted in there. You could put it on your dashboard.
Hmm.
There's tools, there's accessories that could benefit you from you looking downwards or looking down somewhere that keeps your eyes off the road.
Right.
Just saying.
Now, I'm looking at that e-bike accident though. Was that a hit and run though?
Uh To be honest with you, I know that was not a hit and run. They didn't say it was a hit and run.
Okay, no, I was just asking because I'm looking. I was kind of just reading it, and they're asking whoever witnessed the accident to please call officer blah 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 blah
Right,
and
but they
so
would
forth.
have said the headline like there was a hit and run, but they want more witnesses because most of these cars sometimes got cameras, so that
Right,
way they could see all angles. It must be that area they don't have a camera, so they could replay and see what's going on.
right, right,
So
right, right.
I could understand that, but like I said, that's probably the only thing. I'm sure we get updated, tomorrow because the incident happened this morning. Surprisingly, we don't have more information right now, but usually they'll say something like the driver stayed in the area, more to follow or something.
Right,
So
right. I
right,
mean, I was reading it. I can't listen to you and that other thing at the
Mhm.
same time. So,
But well, it's
you know,
not funny. But another incident that happened like probably a week ago was in the same town. There was a guy that was stealing a car, and he went on a stealing car rampage. And the last car he stole, at the same time they were getting chased, he stole a police car in that town. And the police officers fired at him. He got wounded, I think, in the leg area, and he crashed into a building, into a diner. Nobody got hurt. So that was luck. But again, it's just a lot of craziness going on, man. It really
I,
is.
there is a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a constant. I mean, you mentioned wrong way accidents. Where there's um there's a website here, right, that people go on,
Mm-hmm.
and it's broadcasted. It's actually called Only in Dade, right, which is Miami-Dade County, which is where I live in. And let me tell you, there's people that shoot videos, and you see wrong way drivers on the highway. It's a miracle that there's not more accidents like that. You know, but
There's a lot here, and I think a year ago during the summer there was a fatality of the guy was going wrong way, and 6 people got killed. 4 and one, two and the other, and of course that impact. You're going 80 miles per hour versus another car that's probably similar, and they crash to each other. I mean, when they show the video clip, of course the camera is far away from the scene. They try to zoom in, and it looked like somebody ironed the car out. It's bad already.
oh, for
It's
sure.
bad. But here they got statistics that from 2010 to 2015 there were fewer than 50 pedestrian fatalities in a year. Okay. Since then, it's been from 2016 to 2021, it's been greater than 65 fatalities for pedestrian accidents. Okay. And that's not covering whether or not it's hit and run or not. But as of late, and we've only been in the new year since 25 days, right? That there's been a lot of hit and run accidents. So all that, to me, in my opinion, right, or my assumption is that the person was under the influence. They didn't want to get caught. But regardless of the situation, and I tell everybody around me, if you get into an accident, man, stay where you at, whether it's your fault or not. Somehow, some way, it's a lesser degree punishment, or you can still get away with it, or whatever it is. That you remain at the scene. You know, my father always said, "Man, just keep your mouth closed, man. Let them do what they got to do, because one word could
You
change
know,
the outcome."
unfortunately, your dad's right. Sometimes you just gotta, hey, look, we had an accident.
That's it. Some
Just
states
keep
they
your
don't
mouth shut.
care. Some states be like, "There's no fault clause. You just deal with the situation."
Right.
Right? So
Well, I'll tell you this: the state of Florida in 2021, I got the late. I'm still looking for the latest one. So was the second most pedestrian deaths. Okay,
mhm.
and they had 899 pedestrian accidents. That's a lot.
That's too many.
That's a lot.
That's too many. So again, it's like, what are we doing? and of course here in Connecticut, it takes an act of Congress to get a driver's license. It's different than when I was 18 years old. When I got mine, all you gotta do is pay a fee, take the test, and drive, and prove yourself that you could drive. Now it's like you have to purchase a permit, then you have to purchase this, purchase that, and then all of a sudden now you take the test. It's like there's so much money to be spent just to get a driver's license. Okay, and then like after that is like, okay, everyone got a license, but where is the repercussion? Is it always about money? That of citations, whatever, pay your fee for doing whatever. I think the punishment has to be harder. And now things are more dangerous on the streets now because no one's really obeying the speed limit.
No.
Look, I know I'm speeding. In the state of Connecticut, the average speed is 65 miles per hour. Okay. And the reason being is that you got exits on the left and on the right. So, people always changing lanes, which is different, especially in the state of Texas, that majority of the highways, the exit is always on the right hand side.
Correct.
Right?
Out here, majority of the exits are on the right hand side.
Right. Which makes sense because the slow lane goes on the right side. You're going to slow down to the ramp to get there, which is totally not so much here in the state of Connecticut. So, got it, understand. However, why is it that people are just average? And I'm saying average because I drive and commute every single day. I am going 75. So if the car is going faster than me, I'm like, I only can imagine what number his dial is saying right now.
I'm doing I mean, like here on the Florida Turnpike, the speed limit is 70 miles an hour. I'm doing about 80. And let me tell you, I still got clowned. Okay, and those are the ones that that they're not doing 85. They're not doing 90. They're doing at least 95 to 100. When they fly right by you like that, and you're doing 80, 85 miles an hour, and they fly, you know that they're really flying. They're hauling ass, hands down. So I mean, speeding tickets out here are expensive,
Yeah, but
but
it's expensive, but is it doing something? That's the thing. Is giving citations and getting them to court, is it solving the problem? I feel like that's still not good enough.
look, man, I've been driving since I've been 18 years old. All right, for a long time, I paid Miami-Dade County tickets. Okay, they have a point system here. If you end up with 12 points on your license in 1 year, you get your license suspended for 6 months, I believe. I'm not sure how long it is. If you end up no until the points come off, there it is. In a 2 year period, 24 points. 3 years, 36 points, right? Because I think after 3 years, your points start coming down. Um, Needless to say, when I moved back to Miami from Texas, that I had a Texas driver's license, which I don't know how I got it
You don't know how you got your Texas license?
because my Florida driver's license was suspended. I should not have
So
gotten a
they did
driver's
not.
license.
They didn't connect when you got your license.
They did it.
hmm
So
And
when
what year was this though?
this was
1990 something, right? 98, 90,
no, no,
97.
no, no. This was like 2001, 2002, around there.
Okay.
Excuse me. And it
But see,
was
you
one.
suspect though.
Yo, for
And I'm gonna
sure.
tell you why. You had to apply, and they ask you the question: Have you had a previous license from another state?
And I
Did you
said
fill that
yes.
out?
I
Okay,
told him yes, and I even gave him my license.
you sure about that?
Yeah, I gave
Come
him my
on,
license.
man. You some shady guy, man. I know you.
Shady. No, no, no shady here, man. But when I came back to Miami,
hmm
I took a job that they required me to drive. I had to get a Florida driver's license.
mm.
I got my license. They told me that I had to suspend it, but my points came down because it was suspended by points.
Right.
So I was able to get a license. Needless to say, I got a ticket a couple weeks later.
What you do?
Hauling
Speeding.
ass, of
Oh,
course.
yeah, learned
You
your
know,
lesson.
nah, man. And I got a ticket. My license was suspended, and I had to wait till the other points on my license came down because I had 12 points.
So is your license active now?
Oh man! Right now, according to the state of Florida, I think my driver's license even has a thing that says "safe driver" on it.
Your ass ain't even safe driving. Get out of here.
What are you talking about? I'm a good driver. I'm a good driver.
You're a good driver. You gotta pull it out to prove it.
You see, look, it even says it right here. I'm gonna pull it out here so you can see. Says "safe driver."
Uh-huh. And you had long hair? Or is
Yeah, I
that
had
the
long hair.
shadow?
No, I had long hair.
No, I took a picture once and it looked like I had long hair, and I was like, no, that was a shadow because
I had
look
long
at
hair.
you. All
I
right.
had long hair. Yeah. So
And how
you know,
long is your license?
what do you mean? How long?
Well, how long does it take to expire?
Oh, let's see. This one I got. This one expires next year, 2024.
So
I've
is it like
had
every 4 years, every 5 years?
no. I got this one in 2016. So it's
Oh,
about
okay.
every 8 years, more or less.
Because I know in Arizona is like 60 years or so. So it's
I mean,
like they don't have to renew it.
I think you should be renewing your license at least on a 1 to 2 year, on like a 2 to 3 year basis.
Mm. I'm about, yeah, you
It
suspect
keeps
right
you in
now.
check. It keeps you in check, man. I mean,
Well, over here you have an option. There's the different price for amount of years. I think the most is 8 years. So you
mhm.
pay like $72 for a light to renew your license. So um but at the same time, you're right. I think we have similar point systems. A certain amount they suspend you, but when you're dealing with with a vehicle accident, right, and you're causing hurt, and depending on the investigation, if you're at fault, you're a high risk. You're automatically a high risk. I think there has to be something that says, dude, maybe not a year, but maybe 1, 2 months, maybe 3 months of suspension to be like, look, or maybe you automatically go back to defensive driving and do it all over again.
Well, what they do here at times,
Hmm.
where you get your ticket and you have an option to go to traffic school, so you don't get the points. And you're not paying the ticket, you're paying traffic school, but you end up paying more than what your ticket is anyways,
Mm,
because traffic school is expensive. So you're gonna do those 4 hour courses. All right, and it's all it's I think it's like 4 hours. And then you do that, you turn it in, and you get your points taken off. But
gotcha.
your car insurance still goes up though.
Well, how about this idea? Well, yeah, when you accidents, yeah, of course, insurance goes up. But how about this idea? Should there be a technology on cell phones to where it motions how the speed that you're going that automatically disables any communication? Now, some phones do
Yes.
have that because you could program it that you're on the road, you can't text, right? But you can still disable it and still mess around with your phone. Should it be automatically to where it recognizes the amount of speed that you're going to automatically disable your phone?
Man, that's a catch 22. Unless you're only allowed to make an emergency phone call.
Correct. You touch it, 911. What's your emergency?
Think they could do that. I think that's
Now,
one
would
of
that
the.
raise concern of other people like complaining, protesting and be like, oh no, you can't do that and blah 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 blah?
Let me
Or
ask
is
you.
it really the matter of fact the goal is the safety of everyone that's traveling on the roads? What
Question.
how would that be prioritized?
What kind of world are we living in nowadays? Okay, if you don't like the smell of my fart, you're gonna go protest.
Thank
Okay,
God I'm over here, man, because you're
so,
dangerous.
but think about it. Okay,
Mhm.
we are in we're in times where people, people speak up, which is great, but you protest for everything. So there will be a protest. Oh no, I don't want AT&T to do this because you're violating my rights as a consumer. Because
Mhm.
that's exactly what's going to be, you know. So at the end of the day, yeah, I think that's something that could be done, but people are going to think that it's wrong because you're controlling people now. So explain that one. How are you gonna, you know, control a
I would
person?
like to hear other viewers if they're watching to, say, what's their impression, and even if it's after the show, is like, what's your idea? Is that a good idea for cell phone companies to add that feature that's automatically at a certain speed that it automatically shuts down? Like disabled until you slow down. Like for example, if the phone recognizes you going over 20 miles per hour, right? Disabled, and then when you slow down, then it turns back on again.
Well, I would tell you that I think it should be if you hit 10 to 15 miles an hour. You know why? Because you got school zones. School zones out here are 15 miles an hour.
Right. I think that's everywhere, right? I mean, you just got to slow down.
I've
Right.
seen some places for school zones are 25 miles an hour. But if that's ever going to be done, you know what? It needs to be done in a school zone, especially.
Right. Absolutely.
You know,
I agree with you there. I
you
agree
know,
with you there.
I like I'm super cautious on a school zone. I make sure that on a school zone, I'm not on my phone. I mean, granted, do I drive? There's times where I'm looking at my phone. Okay, all right, that's cool, and go. You know, but I'm going to also tell you what happened. Something that just came to mind. There's people watching TV on their phone.
Yeah. I put it on. I got my app, my TV app on my phone, and instead of listening to the radio because I hear the same old stuff, and I'm like, well, let me hear it on my speakers, what they're saying, all these talk shows and stuff, because I feel like they're more up to speed than when I'm listening to a streaming app service to where, like for example, ESPN radio. Well, if I don't want to hear about basketball, whatever, I just want to hear about football. Well, let me turn that on to the NFL network and I'm listening in while I'm driving, because technically they do both radio
Right.
and television, right? So, but yeah, you're right. Absolutely. You could watch movies, videos, or whatever it is. So, yeah, like again, there's a lot of distraction going on to where if you're keeping your eyes off the road, you're more likely going to get into an accident. And we need to stop that because there's too many people getting killed, man. But speaking about getting killed, like celebrity court cases, man, everyone wants to chime in on what's going on. Well, one in particular, got my attention, and the most notable one was Alec Baldwin's case, and where they're trying to prosecute him into involuntary manslaughter because of the fact that during the film of shooting a movie, he had a gun that was not supposed to be loaded and he shot um someone and that person got killed and now they're trying to take him to court and man I'm curious because I've never been an actor. I've never been in a set, and you and I were former military, so we know exactly what we need to do whenever we have a weapon in our hand. The first thing we do is ensuring that the weapon is cleared. But when it comes to a celebrity that they gave him a weapon, which is supposed to be fake, but yet the person gets killed, is he really at fault? Is he responsible? Who is really responsible? Who is at fault here?
Well, in my complete opinion on this, the person that's fault is the armorer, the person that gave him the gun. They have an armorer on the set. because I mean they use real guns
Hmm.
mainly because they're using blanks.
Right.
All right, because you still for whatever movies they're doing or whatever shows, you still want the bang, right?
Hmm.
Now the issue here comes in is if the armor gives you the firearm, right? You're automatically assuming that it's safe to shoot because they're giving it to you with blanks.
Hmm.
So either way, if he gets it and he clears it, a blank's gonna come out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm figuring that when he grabbed that gun, he pulled the trigger. Of course, he's gonna pull it because that's just that's what he was supposed to do.
Maybe
On
he
the
was
set.
just showing off and be like, "Hey, like boom, boom, like trying to be, Mr. Cowboy or something like that."
No,
We all go through that, right? Oh, it's a toy, so no one gets hurt.
you see, it's Baldwin was holding a gun during a rehearsal when it was discharged.
Hmm.
So they were rehearsing the that sequence of the
That
movie,
particular scene, right?
right? That
Right.
scene,
That segment, right? Yeah. Hmm.
So you know, yeah, bang. It's kind of it's. I think
It's a
it
it's it's it's
depends
a
on who
tough
you ask.
situation, right? But again, like how would let's change the scenario? Would that be any different if I had a gun and accidentally fired it in my house and somebody got hurt? What will happen to me?
But it's different.
How
It's
is it
different.
different?
I'm gonna tell you what the difference is at. The difference is that you know that your gun has real bullets in it.
Hmm.
The gun that Alec Baldwin had was not supposed to have real bullets in it.
But shouldn't they all have training before they went on the set? That's what bothers me is like you just I don't know. It's just you just give me a gun. I'm gonna use this. Boom. Like shouldn't everyone be like? I mean, look, this is year 2000. The incident happened in 2022, right? So
Hmm.
at this day and age, shouldn't they already have like some type of training, class before they start doing this movie set? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how that works, but um, somebody has to be guilty. Somebody has. No one could get away. Somebody got killed. Somebody has to take that responsibility.
I
Should it
mean,
be? Should it be Baldwin?
no, I really think that he should not take the responsibility on that because again, it's they went, hey, here you go, it's ready to go. The person giving him that firearm is the one that needs to take the responsibility, not him. He has to take responsibility because of the laws in New Mexico on how they set,
Mhm.
on how they're set up. But I don't think he's at fault here because did he pull the trigger? Yes, he did. But he pulled it. Why? He was given a firearm. I said, "Here you go. It's ready to go." That was not supposed to have live bullets. Okay, the person that gave him the firearm is the one that needs to be held 100% accountable. Because you know what? If you cannot tell the difference between an actual bullet and a blank, you got problems.
I think for Alec Baldwin's case, I think he knows more because he's a veteran actor. He's played movie roles with guns before. You know what I mean? And you should sense a red flag. And I think that they were careless. And there's been reports that they've been careless. There was a lot of safety violations throughout filming this movie. Um, Another thing that popped out was both Baldwin and another person, Gutierrez Reed, have denied the potential charges, and the assistant director is taking a plea deal to accept that punishment. And then the other one is people are criticizing Baldwin because he went on television to explain So
What
supposedly
happened?
he was defending himself before the public opinion. Now that public opinion bullet right there really bothers me because, and this day and age is like you're automatically guilty and you got to prove your innocence, right? You well, you're supposed to be
Yeah, yeah.
innocent until proven guilty,
But this day and age, you're guilty
right?
until you're proven innocent.
hmm So I'm a
Until
little bit bothered on this matter, and again, if it was one of us in that situation, we'd be arrested, we'd be in jail ready,
no,
maybe
we
gotta
wouldn't.
get bailed or something, and then wait for trial. Depending on the level. I just feel that there's double standards, man. Honestly, somebody got killed. Somebody's got to be responsible. I'm sorry,
Okay,
it
you know
is.
who's my complete opinion on this
Uh
is
huh.
Gutierrez Reed is the one that needs to be responsible for it. He's the armor. Okay, think about it. If you're in the military, the armor gives you something. He is that final check before you get it. Make sure that it works. Make sure that it's right. If it fails to shoot for any single reason, whose fault is it? Yours or his?
You're gonna say it's his, but in my opinion, I think again, if you're in that scenario where you're using a gun, you should already got training. You should inspect. I'm sorry. It's just I feel like everyone that has their hands on it should have that type of training. And the lady that died, her name was Helena Hutchins.
Correct.
Right. She's a cinematographer. So
I
um
wonder.
oh, the
I
incident happened in 2021. My bad. It wasn't in 22, 2021.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder what her husband's stand or her widow stance is on this now because I know that Baldwin and him had conversations and they were pretty peaceful, you know. So I wonder, but go figure. I mean, it's one of those where
The,
it's not
yeah,
supposed to happen that way,
absolutely.
you know.
People have feelings, and then that later on they'll have different feelings. So, I'm hopefully that they get to the bottom of this and they don't prolong this. I feel like this is gonna be a trial, and I feel like all this media is gonna have that attention. So, I'm prepared also for all my channels to be fulfilled with Alec Baldwin. And
Yeah,
I also got a feeling on the other side of this that former President Trump is probably going to be laughing his ass off on him because of all the stuff that he had to go through, him mocking him and everything else. So uh, that's a karma for him. But another topic that we can move on is the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now there is a new member in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and he is no other than Scott Rowland. uh, Yesterday, he was announced that he will be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, and that happens during the summertime. But he made his percentage. He got over 75% of the votes. So congratulations to him. But the thing is that was he really the deserving person to be in the Hall of Fame? Now, when you look at his numbers are just like an average baseball player. All right. Yeah, he has some gold gloves. He made it to the All Stars and stuff like that. But this is the type of guy that really didn't like. He wasn't the MVP of anything. He wasn't the MVP in the playoffs. He hasn't even won the World Series. Um, but was he the deserving one? And there's a lot of people um that I feel like is deserving, but the baseball writers will make it seem like because of the steroids, because of the PEDs and stuff like that. That and I'm sorry, I'm gonna take that back. He was a World Series champion back in 2006 with the St. Louis Cardinals. But again, it's like compared to the rest of the guys that are on the list, was he really one better than them? And in my first words I'll say is Manny Ramirez. During his prime, even before he became a Boston Red Sox, he played for the Cleveland Indians. This dude was sharp, man. All his numbers are greater than Scott Rowland, but they won't pick Manny Ramirez because one, he's been, he has been suspended because of PED. You know what I mean? But they won't pick him.
Well, look, let's do this. I'm gonna tell you. I mean, I'm not much of a baseball guy,
Mm-hmm.
and we know that. Okay, but I could tell you that right off the bat, I know who Gary Sheffield is. I know who Carlos Beltran is. Okay, I obviously know who Alex Rodriguez is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've heard of Andy Pettit before.
Oh,
Okay.
wait, watch this. I'm glad you mentioned Andy Pettit. So watch this. Had a conversation with Hector from the HHW show. He's a
Hmm.
big Yankee fan. I'm a big Red Sox fan. And my biggest fear always is that whenever we went against the Yankees, that was the pitcher that you didn't want to play against. Because
Hmm.
this guy would shut you down. Okay. And I tell you what, this guy is the most deserving. This guy has been in the play. He's played 44 games in the playoffs. He's also won 4 World Series for the New York Yankees. Okay. How you not put him in the Hall of Fame? The number speaks volume. Why not you not voting him? I'm just I'm astounded on everything, man. I really am. You mentioned Gary Sheffield. He was among those that were leaked out that supposedly he was using PED. Um, Carlos Beltran, who has nothing to do with PED,
Hmm.
but because he was in a cheating scandal with the Houston Astros, right? Now all of a sudden, now you won't pick him to be in there.
Well, my question is this: who's doing all the voting?
The baseball writers, the
Okay,
senior writers, right? Mm-hmm.
I think that is something that really needs to change because it's pretty much saying, "Hey, I'm going to vote this guy because I like this guy. This guy's being squeaky clean. This guy never gave me an issue. I never had to write a story on this guy in a sense."
I think because it's sometimes it's probably the popularity. I don't know. Like there's different standards, and no one really can figure out exactly who it is unless you're paying attention to the people that follow baseball, like the MLB Network. Like Mark. Who's his name? McGriff, Fred McGriff.
Uh huh.
He got voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. He played first base, right? This guy was one of the best first basemen of all time in Major League Baseball. But the baseball writers did not vote him in. It was a contemporary Hall of Famers that put in the ballot to vote him in. But it should have never gone that far. Okay. And I think the baseball writers got it wrong and not making him. Now, you look at the other sport. Let's look at the NFL. The NFL always have a team. When I say a team, like there's a lot of people that get voted every year into the Hall of Fame. Baseball has more players than football. You're talking about a 26-man roster, right? And at times you do trades and everything else. You bring in somebody else in there. And then the month of September, you got like 40 personnel and everything else. But the thing is, you have 9 men playing that position. The 10th one being a designated hitter, right? You got a farm system. You got all kinds of stuff. And you mean to tell me that there's certain years that you don't induct anyone? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
that
every year, someone should be in the Hall of Fame. There's just too many people. Too many. You want to talk about elite? I think they need to do a better job when it comes to identifying elite. Now, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, they've been in the battle for 10 years. They didn't get picked. And we understand the PED, which Barry Bonds never got caught. It's all like this and that, or whatever the drama was about that is just the numbers does prove that he was probably using something,
but he
right?
never got caught.
Right. Roger Clemens with that scandal and everything else, I could say there's proof because of his rage, especially when he was wearing the Yankee uniform, right? But other than that, I mean, you take away the PED, they were already Hall of Famers. So why are we not recognizing them when there were Roger Clemens, well, held the record for 20 strikeouts in a game? He was a 6-time Cy Young Award winner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This guy was already awesome. He didn't need to do anything. Barry Bonds, when he was with the Pirates, awesome, you know. But again, like let's take it away. A lot of people be like, hey, forget it. And then also Pete Rose. Pete Rose was gambling. Which is worse? PED or gambling?
I think the PEDs would be worse.
Well, I guess
In my
baseball says otherwise because Pete Rose is still banned from baseball. He's still banned from being voted into the Hall of Fame.
no,
But yeah,
he's
he's the all-time hits. He
yeah
leads in
he's
all-time hits, right? He's the only one that hustled at every base, everything. There's no one like Pete Rose. He is the number one player of Major League Baseball. Better than Babe Ruth, better than anyone else that you want to mention. That was that guy.
yeah.
So it's like, come on, man. This is year 2023 now. And back then we were talking about, hey, this is 2020, and we keep continue every time Baseball Hall of Fame pops up. What about Pete Rose? And yet we still can't get this guy to get that ban lifted so he could be in the respected Hall of Fame.
He's never gonna be in there, man. That guy's gonna die trying, man. And actually, and I don't even think he's tried anymore. He's like, I think he's given up. He's like, you know what? Forget it. It's not gonna happen.
I thought this new commissioner was gonna do something and be like, "Go ahead, man." But I think there's that baseball mafia going on to where it is what they want, and the fans know who's great. Andrew Jones, that dude was solid in the outfield, man. This guy won a World Series with the Atlanta Braves in '95, and then of course, at the end of his years, you start getting old, man. So, but I'm looking at this list. Francisco Rodriguez was one of the best closers. He wasn't like Mariano Rivera, but he
He
was up
played.
there. He
He
played for
played
the
for the
Angels,
dot for the Angels. Okay.
right? Jeff Kent was solid with the Giants. Gary Sheffield, man, that dude. Like I said, he was the most dangerous hitter, even beforehand. That dude had a swing like he was always swinging for the fences.
Always.
Um,
That I mean,
always.
I remember. I mean, I saw him play a couple times when he played with the Marlins. So
hmm
and I obviously remember his name, but he was a good batter.
Todd Helton. And here's another thing. Todd Helton had an advantage because he played for the Colorado Rockies for his whole career. But being in Colorado is a high altitude,
Hmm.
right? And I'm always left wondering if he would have moved to another team, would he play the way he played? But it is what it is. But he ended up with 72%. Scott Rowland 70 said you got to have over 75 or more to make it to the Hall of Fame. I think it's ridiculous just to have Scott Rowland. Why not 70%? I just all I'm saying. The numbers don't jive for me for someone to make it to the Hall of Fame. But
Well, I just
having
find it
one or having none is just not good enough for baseball.
it's not. I mean, that's what I find crazy out of it. It's like you said earlier, the comparison, with the NFL, okay, who has a squad of people go in every year, compared to baseball, you have one person this year. I think last year was it last year that they had one or none. I know there was a
Last
couple.
year, last year they didn't have anybody.
I remember because I
Mhm.
believe we had kind of the same discussion last year on one of the shows that it's like how are you not going to excuse me how are you not going to vote anybody in?
Right.
I think every year you should have at least if let's say baseball, right? Because baseball's only doing
Mhm.
one or two a year, so have maybe five, six. Don't make the standard so far high up where these good players that were good are not
Right.
going to make it because your standards are all the way up here, which is pretty much untouchable.
Absolutely. And now next year, I'll read you some names that's going to be eligible next year. You ready? Adrian Beltre. Okay. Bartolo Colon. Now he's suspect a little bit. I mean, he tried to stay until he was 45 years old to pitch, but then you got Adrian Gonzalez. That dude was the best, one of the best power hitters. He's also was a Gold Glove winner. Matt Holliday, Victor Martinez, who was an All-Star catcher. Okay, moving down to Chase Utley, which again he was with the Phillies and Dodgers. Dude was nasty. And I'm mentioning and David Wright from the Mets. These guys were awesome in their era. That would that deter what's his name? Um I even forgot his name. Ivan Dito. Hold on for a second. I lost my place here. Oh, Todd Helton to reach the Hall of Fame. Because remember, you got the same voters, right?
And
And you when you
you have
add
more
more
people.
people in there, will he make that 72 or will that percentage drop because the other guys come in? They also got to get some type of voting. And they're better players. And that's what's wrong with this Hall of Fame stuff, man. It's like they were almost there to get chosen. And then when the next list comes, you don't push that guy to win it, somebody else is going to take over. So it's like,
Right. It's a popular vote,
now I'm gonna
pretty
tell you
much.
right now, the first ballot Hall of Fame will be Ichiro. If you remember him, he played for Seattle for a long time. His first 10 seasons in the Major League Baseball, he's batted over 300, and every season he hit over 200 hits. Okay. And he was an all-star every single year. So there's no way that guy does not make it first time Hall of Fame. He has to for 2025. But I don't think next year, I don't think anyone's gonna make it. I really don't.
I don't even know what to tell you because it's you have such a bad turnout, right? Because that's what I call it. It's a bad turnout.
It's a bad turnout for baseball all the way, man. Like one, they're changing the rules of baseball starting next season, right? Bigger bases. They got a clock for the pitcher now. So like,
Which I think that's good to have a
right.
clock for the pitcher because
So I think, and then no more shifts. The shifts are gone.
what do you mean
You
shifts?
know, so like if you're a left-handed batter, right? So what they did was they left the third baseman somewhere where shortstop is, and everybody else moves over to the right side of the field.
Right.
So you have your first baseman, second baseman, and shortstop between first base and second base. And in the outfield, you have maybe that left fielder playing from left to center, and the
Right.
other two are in the far right.
Uh
So
huh.
that's the shift. Well, now
Right.
they're getting rid of that. You
Why? That's
know,
strategy.
yeah, but for their eyes, it's like, well, their averages are down. A lot of people are striking out. So they build it on analytics, and analytics really killed the game, man. They really did. After that, was that Moneyball, the movie? Like everyone wants to be Moneyball. How about like play the game the way that we traditionally done it, right? But expect this season to have more stolen bases. With the bases bigger now and wider and everything else. I think there's going to be more action, but at the same time, I feel like more pitchers are going to get hurt. I really do.
How much bigger are you gonna have the bases?
1 inch in every side,
So 4 inches around in a sense.
and average, yeah. And I don't know if the mound is going to be extended, but again, it's just there's a lot of changes happening, and it's gonna take time to get used of all the changes. But they're trying to like gain that popularity, gain that action like how it used to be. And I remember baseball was the main sport, but football took over because action, man. Like right now, you watch the baseball game, and you probably fall asleep after the third inning, because it's that boring. And you know what else is boring? The commentators.
Yeah.
There's no commentators that's gonna get you in the game unless it's the playoffs and it's the championship. So every inning counts.
I mean,
You know,
I find baseball boring. All right, and I'll tell you that my stepson plays baseball. Okay, I could go watch him play all day and I'm not bored because Little League is one thing. All right, but now to for me to sit here and watch a full baseball game at my house or even go to a baseball game, it's boring. It's
I don't
boring.
blame you. I don't blame you.
I think that the last baseball game I went to was this past year. And we went because someone gave us tickets. We're like, hey, you know what? Let's go. We all went. I know that I
Mhm.
was on this here looking at my phone.
And then you got hit with the ball.
No, 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 no. I didn't get hit by a ball.
No, I'm
But what
just
I'm
teasing
saying
you. Go
is,
ahead. Right.
I go to a football game and I don't even touch my phone. I might take it out and take a picture, but that's about it.
Yeah, because there's always action going on. There's so people tackling. They're throwing the ball, try to get it. You trying to get that first down, or there's a scrap in the middle of the game. Like there's always action, something that you don't see in baseball, and I totally understand. And that's why they added a shot clock because I think you got like 12 seconds per each one, and then if they don't throw it on time, it's an automatic ball. So like there's a lot at stake for them to continuously throw the ball, and it's different. And I don't think that part is going to change because maybe the guy's going to foul the ball 8 times before he actually strike out or get a hit or something. I don't know, but
Yeah, that part might not change. I mean,
yeah.
but the guys that have 12 seconds to throw the ball, that's not a lot of time.
No, I mean I just throw out numbers right there, right?
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
Because I think it's 15, maybe. I don't know. I still got to read up on it, but the thing is that they do have a shot clock, right? Like basketball and football, right? They got a clock where you better throw the ball before it hits zero. That that's what it boils down to. But originally, when it comes to the Hall of Fame, I think they ruined it, man. And it's different where I was little and I used to watch my peoples, like make it there, and it was well deserving. Now it's like, who are these people? They weren't elite when I was watching them. They were great, but in that era, there was always someone better than them, and I think they need to get recognized. So, but I'll leave it like that for now.
So let's see. I'm looking at this. On opening day 2023, after opting out of his Mets contract, he'll have only 15 seconds. There's some pitcher have only 15 seconds to throw a pitch. That's the new standard for pitchers when the bases are empty. When runners on, the number moves to 20 seconds. If the clock reaches zero be- before he
Before,
before
right?
he chucks the pill, it's an automatic ball. So you're telling me he has 15 seconds to throw the ball with nobody on base
hmm
and 20 seconds to throw the ball if there's people on
They
base.
probably added a 5 seconds because if the guy's at first base,
Right,
the
he's taking a
pitcher has
look.
an option to throw it to first base, but he's also limited to throwing it to first base too. That's another rule they were adding because they got to keep the flow of the game going, and they want to shrink the time. So instead of watching a 4 hour game, now they want to push it towards less than 3 hours.
Okay, right, of course. So let's
hmm
see. As for the batters, they must be in the box ready to rock with 8 seconds remaining. If they're not, an automatic strike will be called. Hitters are allowed one clock resetting timeout per plate appearance.
hmm That's true.
With runners on base, pitchers are allowed just two not from the rub, just two design can't even fucking read that word. Design
That's
whatever
okay. That's okay.
from the rubber meaning that they may pick or step off a total of 2 times. Okay. So they could step off the plate twice
hmm
off the rubber.
Right.
Okay, so you know what? It does shorten the game.
Mm.
I we're gonna give it that much. It does speed up the gameplay though, you know, but that's gonna be pretty interesting on how that's gonna work. It's pretty cool. I think I might watch the first game just for
Yeah.
you know for
Hey, I
giggles.
got one more before I leave.
All
I
right, what
know
do you
we've
got?
been here for an hour.
It's all
Did
right.
you hear? Did you mention about the? Did we talk about the 6-year-old that shot the teacher on your show?
I think we spoke about it last week.
We did, right? Did we? So
Yes.
I'm reading this, and if correct me if I'm wrong, the school board votes to cut ties with the superintendent weeks after 6-year-old allegedly shot the teacher. The superintendent. Ain't that crazy?
Why?
Like, was it a superintendent that shot the person, or what's going on there? So watch this. I'm reading this, and it says the school board voted Wednesday evening to oust its superintendent weeks after a 6-year-old allegedly shot a teacher in one of the district schools, and on the same day that teachers' lawyers said school administrators were warned that the child had a gun the day of the shooting. Okay, that's a little skeptical there. Still, I don't understand how that's related to the superintendent. The
Yeah.
new the Newsport News Public Schools Board voted 5-1 in favor of separation agreement and severance with the superintendent, right?
Uh,
The teacher's lawyer alleged earlier Wednesday that the school administrator had multiple warnings about the boy the day of the incident. So this boy had a lot of issues. For what I'm understanding is that the boy had a lot of issues. Probably used vulgar language because he probably learned that at home, or use like whatever it is about, oh, I got a gun or whatever it is.
well,
You know what I'm saying?
the child, from what I remember reading, and I don't have the
Hmm.
story in front of me, but the child was some type of special needs child also. Okay, where mom and dad were always walking to school or walking into class or something like that. So there was stuff like, damn, I want to use the right wording so I don't get banned.
Hmm.
But you know the kid had issues. Okay, he had problems.
Hmm.
So and I know that I read it somewhere. Let me hold on, because I know we spoke about it, and I had an article that when I saw it, students were injured.
So, as an educator, you know, my job really is like when the kids come in. Not besides being the educator in the classroom, is that I'm always observing what's going on in the hallway. I don't. There's no hangouts. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you come to school, drop your stuff, let's go, let's get ready to work, and we got a routine going. So there's no, I won't say there's no bags allowed in the school in the classroom, but why would you need bags if all your stuff is already in your desk? You know what I mean? So it's not like, and like I say, I can't speak for other schools and stuff like that, but I'm just saying in an elementary school, like the books stay there. They got Chromebooks and stuff they could take,
Uh-huh.
so that way they could work on some apps, like math or work on writing or whatever it needs to be done. But like follow the routine, and then I have to left the question is like, what about what did the principal do? She's in the principal, and I would say she is whoever it is responsible for the school.
Right.
Was there any safety in place and stuff like that? I would like to know the whole entire picture, because in the building that I work at, like you have your staff members and everybody, we're in the hallways. We're observing every child. We say good morning and this and that. We walk on because we want them to feel safe. We want them to be happy to always return back. You know what I mean? And so, and we don't hesitate to report when we hear stuff. You know what I mean? That's the one thing. You just can't be afraid. You got to do your duties. We have what's that called? We are required to report certain things, certain
Right.
words, so whatever it is, even if it's behavior issues, because you got to keep that classroom flowing. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So but you should never be too busy for anything. So I'm just curious to see how far this goes. Will the superintendent retaliate and sue? You know what I mean? Because
Well, the thing is that I mean, when you really look at it, you can't judge a superintendent. You can't,
fail to act. What is fail to act though?
because correct me if I'm wrong, and I probably am not, but the superintendent is not at that school every single day.
You know, the superintendent's in charge of the whole entire city,
District,
the district.
right,
Yeah, yeah,
right. So that being the case, where is he at fault? Are they trying to fault him because the kid brought a gun to school and there's no measures in place to take care of that? I mean,
right,
if that's the case, then I could kind of understand it, but I don't, because I don't think there's any measures of that in any school.
right.
Okay, unless they actually have metal detectors. Okay, because I can tell you that in schools here in Miami, I don't know of any schools that have metal detectors. They might, I don't know, but I also know that they're not checked, to walk into the school. Like if my son right now wants to go grab the gun, take it to school, guess what? Knows it or no unless he pulls it out or if he tells somebody.
So
Because
watch this. You ready?
mhm,
So this is what trips me out. So this says the school's assistant principal resigned. The assistant principal. Then they go on and say that the teacher got shot and was released from the hospital after a bullet went through her hand and into her
her
chest
chest,
inside her classroom.
right?
Okay. Then there's reports saying that according to someone, 'cause I'm not going to mention the name, around 11:30 in the morning that day, they informed the administrator that the child threatened to beat up another child. Okay.
Okay,
That right there, it's already grounds for yo, come here. Let's go talk about it and let's go talk to the social worker or the school psychiatrist.
okay,
That should have happened. Around 12:30, another teacher told the administrator that she believed that the student had put a gun in his pocket and taken it out to recess. But the administrator allegedly downplayed the possibility. Okay. So I'm left to question is that if you believe that the student had a gun, why did we not isolate that area? Why didn't we not move the kids away from that child? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was that thought process? What was that problem solving solution? And even though it's not problem solving, but you're mitigating the limited of the risk of other people getting hurt, right?
hmm,
And then shortly after 1 p.m., the third teacher told the administrator that of another child um described crying with fear or something like that. Hold on. Had informed the teacher that the 6 year showed him the gun at recess and threatened to shoot him if he told anybody. Okay. Then the fourth employee then asked the administrator for permission to search the boy, but was denied. So why weren't the police automatically notified? That should be standard operating procedures.
well, I'm going to tell you like this. I
Hmm.
I don't know who said no for the kid not to be searched. Okay, but I say like this: if I'm an administrator at a school, I don't care what school it is or what. Okay, if there's a kid that I hear has a gun in his bag, okay, especially a 6 year old for that matter,
Hmm.
okay, because I don't care what kind of I don't care what kind of adult you are. Okay, active, non-active, short, skinny, fat, you can't move, doesn't fucking matter. Okay, guess
Right.
what? You're gonna be able to overpower a 6 year old. Okay, if I'm the administrator and I know about that, oh, the kid has a gun in his bag. Okay, no problem. I'm gonna grab the bag. I'm gonna grab the bag. I'm gonna grab the kid. Okay, I'm
Hmm.
gonna grab him and I will tap him down. Okay, a 6 year old is not smart enough to go ahead and grab a gun and shove it down his pants. He's gonna have it in his pockets. Okay, and
Hmm.
you pat down that area instantly. Then grab the bag. search the bag. If it's not there, someone's gonna complain. Hey, you know what? This is what I heard.
Right.
Fire me then
Yeah.
for trying to save your child.
Grab a witness, something like, look, I inspect everything that's in my room. Everything in my room is my responsibility,
Hmm.
you know, and I don't do messy stuff. But at the same time, when you teach them what right looks like, and again, you keep that normal routine. But when somebody's like, "Hey, so and so is going to do this, someone's going to do that," boom! I don't care if it's a joke or not. You take that seriously, and you notify the parents right away. And again, I love the place where I'm at because everybody reacts quick.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And if someone's absent, there's always the next person in charge, and which is brilliant. We're not waiting. We're not playing a waiting game. We deal with the situation because that's automatic, and those professional development, those times, we don't take time away from the students. That's another thing that I like is like the kids always have their education, and most districts they have their professional development that automatic is a day off. Not where I'm at. We stay after school and get more, training. It has its benefits and it doesn't, but at the same time,
Hmm.
it's like we discuss those things. What happens? Would this happen? Was part two? Was part three? And me, I'm always that SOP type of guy. When everyone's like afraid to ask, hey, show me on paper what's A, B, and C. And if this doesn't happen, what happens next? I need to know. I don't go blind or nothing like that and be like, I'm gonna assume this is gonna happen. No, 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 no. That's not the time, you know. And anyways, and this situation, I think the staff, the administration, whatever, they failed. They really did.
Well, I ran into the same article you were reading, and I was kind of
Hmm.
skimming through it, and yeah, it's a complete failure all around. I mean, look, that a kid tells another kid, "Hey, I'm gonna kick your ass," or "I'm gonna beat you up," whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay,
Better let me know.
and the other kid reports it, then okay, fine. You know what? You gotta take care of that real fast.
Hmm.
Okay, it's like, hey, what's going on? Okay, now the fact that he showed the gun to another child, okay, and that other child reported it, that's where you got a problem.
Did they say what type of gun it is?
I think it was a 38 Taurus, is what I read in another article.
138.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to see what the measurement. A Taurus revolver. Yo, those are small guns.
Small bullet.
Yeah, that you could fit in someone's purse.
Yes.
Yeah,
Supposedly that's where the kid got it from. He got it from his mother's purse. You know,
man, that's a tragedy, man.
dude. You know what? It's called not teaching your kids correctly.
Yep,
The fact that a 6-year old knows where to find your gun and knows how to use it, you got a problem. Okay?
absolutely.
Because I would tell you this, I on a normal basis with my kid, with both my boys,
Hmm.
I never liked the whole handgun toys. Okay? I never liked them. People were to buy them for them, I would grab them, I would dump them. They look too real, man.
Absolutely.
They look too real. No, thank you. Grab it, dump it. You want to give them a Nerf gun? By all means, give them a Nerf gun. And I think we spoke about it last week.
Hmm.
Okay, these new they're water pellet guns. They shoot water pellets and hit you. Oh my! They're called splatter guns. My son has one that looks exactly like an M4.
Damn.
Okay, so it's one of those where it's like, man, if you change the color on it, which you wanted to paint it straight black, I was like, you're crazy. Guess what? It looks like a real freaking M4.
And if you're in the streets and you're doing something, and the cop sees that, they're gonna say that that's a threat, right? And then person gets shot, and you'd be like, "What? I thought you had a real gun." So
Hey, what was the first thing I said when I started the show? Over there's my sister.
yeah,
She
I know.
just
I've
walked
seen
in.
that. Make your
All right,
bed.
make my
Hey, shame
bed.
on you, man. You should have made your bed, man, before you went on the show, man.
Hey,
Yeah,
listen,
I'm with her. I'm with her. I agree with you, Liz.
Ovi.
I agree with you.
Thanks, Ovi. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
Thank you for knowing the fact that we did this show at last minute. The bed was made, but I jumped in it, Liz. Sorry, you missed
Yeah,
the part where I jumped off my chair and I jumped on the bed.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Okay.
but yeah, man, there's a big problem there, and
I'm sure that they're gonna come up with a solution, and there's always that issue where it always have to be the worst case scenario so we could learn our lesson, right? So thank
yeah,
you, Yang Yang over here. There we go.
yeah,
All right.
that's that twin thing.
Hmm.
You
Well, I
know,
tell you what, man, it was a great conversation.
yeah,
Pedestrians getting hit by cars to Alec Baldwin to Baseball Hall of
right.
Fame voters and talking about this incident here with a 6-year-old shooting a teacher and people resigning and people getting ousted. So again, this seems like a reaction instead of trying to look things in a positive and be like, look, what can we do better? So there's a lot of blaming going on, and that's part of the process. And it's gonna take some time for everyone to heal and to move on. And from what I read, I think next week they're gonna start school again over there. So hopefully they
Yeah.
get something in place.
Well,
But
yeah, I I'm sure they will. You
mhm,
know, I
of
mean,
course,
we live in a world now that tragedy happens and we talk about it. Actually, no, we're mad about it. We talk about it. We move on. It happens again and repeat.
yeah,
This is unfortunately the abnorm is becoming the norm.
yeah. Eventually, yep, that's what happens.
So
So,
we'll
but
see.
anyway,
We'll see how we do it. It is what it is.
I
You
appreciate
know.
it, man. Thank you for having me on the show.
No, hey man, thank you for coming on.
Hmm.
I'm sure we'll do more of these shows. On the
Yeah,
fly. This
I ain't
was
gonna be on the
our
fly. We'll develop it. We'll make it right.
for sure. Oh, for sure,
Hmm.
for sure. So hey, look, you might agree with what we're speaking, or you might not agree with what we're speaking, but you know what? We're always there to speak it real. We'll catch you next week.
Deuces.
Thank you for watching. Speaking with You is brought to you by Clovercrest Media. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. You can listen to us wherever you get your podcast. See you next week.